Hi, guys, and welcome to the ChantLFC talk show. Last night, I had the absolute pleasure of talking to Grizz, and the interview with Grizz will be coming on shortly. We spent about 30 minutes talking about all sorts of interesting things. Grizz is now the sort of principal operator of LFCDaytrippers, which is a Twitter page that I'm sure a lot of you guys will be aware of. If you're not, go and check it out. It was a really interesting chat. But before we move on to Grizz, we have done an exclusive promotion with Carlsberg to try and give some beer to Liverpool fans. That can't be a bad thing, can it? So why don't I run the first entrant into our competition, who I had a chat with yesterday. Okay, so let me roll the tape, and we will come back after this with Grizz. Okay, so be patient for that one. It is well worth your time. Hey, caller, what's your name and where are you from?
My name's Martin. I'm from St Helens in Merseyside.
Ah, okay. We've got a local, right? That's a local. We can call you a local, can we?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think most scouts would probably call me a wool, but
well, listen,
local.
mate. They don't have a word for what they'd call me. I mean, I'm from over there in Ireland, but I think there's a fair few of us that support the mighty Reds. Listen, Martin, lovely to have you on, my friend. And what I am really, really keen to do is to have you leave tonight with some beer. Okay, so we'll come on to that in a minute. But first of all, we played the mighty Ajax last night. So we're recording this on the Thursday. We played the mighty Ajax last night. What about the two boys at the back? They did well, didn't they?
They were great, you know. I know Fabinho's did well against Chelsea. He's playing in centre-back in a couple of games, and he was impressive because he was brilliant last night. I think Gomez really steps up as well. I think he needs to now.
Absolutely.
For the season.
We got a bit of confidence back. We got a bit of confidence back with Verge out.
Yeah, I think they needed the confidence, didn't they, last night? They needed that boost, especially the clean sheet that'll do them all the world of good.
Yeah. Well, touch wood. We got Sheffield United this weekend, so let's win that one, and we're not going to be far off the top, I think. Right, Martin, let me tell you what's going on here. Carlsberg, an official partner of the club, have produced it's a really neat thing, okay? It's a limited edition, exclusive case, 24 cans of beer. And as you can see, it's heavily Liverpool branded. The players have signed it, all of that good stuff. It's almost too good to drink, right? I want to make sure you keep one of them, Martin. Do keep one if you win this thing. And I desperately want you to win it. And what you have to do to win it is we are going to have a golden race of 10 match days, right? So we're going to do 10 virtual match days. We're not going to look at the matches. We'll just simulate the matches and see what happens on the league table. And maybe we'll have a bit of banter between each match day, depending on how the Reds are doing. But what I want you to tell me is, after the 10 matches, which team do you think will be on top of the league? And secondly, by what gap to second? Now, I'm going to give you a buffer of 1 point on either side. So if you tell me that your team will be ahead by 3 points at the end of the 10 games, then if they're ahead by either 2, 3, or 4 points, you're going to walk away with some beer tonight, delivered direct to your door by Carlsberg. So let me ask you the first question. Who's going to win this mini league?
Got to back the champions. I'm going with the mighty Reds, Liverpool.
Perfect. Okay, Liverpool are going to win this league. I'm touching wooden things here. I'm touching all sorts of things for you, Martin. Now, this next question is really, really key. By how many points are they going to be ahead of second place?
I'm going to go for 4 points.
Okay, so if Liverpool are ahead by either 3, 4, or 5 points at the end of the 10 games, you're going to walk away with the beer. Okay, you happy with that? It makes sense?
Yeah, 100%.
All right, and you can see the league table?
I can.
And who's on top?
So Liverpool are top currently.
Can we just leave it like
that way?
Can we just leave it like this for a while? Okay.
Fine by me.
Listen, mate, here we go, right? Let's do match day 1. So we're going to skip straight through to match day 1. Right, look at that. 3 points. Right, straight up there at number 1. Yeah, that's a good start. We've had a 3-0 win. I don't know who it was against, but we're on top on goal difference. So let's do match day 2. Holy shitballs. Wow. We've lost the second game. Hold on, this sounds like this season. What the hell? All right, we're only 3 points down. We're not worrying yet.
Yeah.
Match day 3. We've climbed again. We're up to 6 points, so we're only 3 points off the top. which, bizarrely is West Ham. But who would have imagined that Everton and Villa would have been atop the league sort of in late October of this season? It's just insane, right? Anyhow, we'll put that right shortly, I'm sure. And elsewhere, let's do match day 4. Okay, we're at 7 points. We've had a draw. I'm beginning to worry about our 4, 5, or 6 points here, Martin. I have to say, let's go through match day 5. We're halfway there. Oh, man. We have dropped the ball badly. We're still on 7 points. We're 8 points behind Chelsea. Oh, that's sick. I'm afraid. I'm not feeling it. I am not feeling it. Let's do 6.
No, I'm not.
Well, we've had a win. Let's do 7. Well, we've had another win, but we're still too far off. Chelsea have won every game. Buggers. It's all of that sort of Russian money, I have to say. 8, 9, and I think it's fair to say we can do 10. We're going to finish 5th on 18 points, 7 points back from Chelsea. Martin, it was not to be. We didn't win the beer. But listen, I hope that you and I can talk many more times over the season. I hope you'll join me on another video. Maybe we'll have another competition. Yeah, come back and have a go again, right?
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you very much.
Lovely. Okay, Martin, thanks a lot for joining me, and we'll speak to you soon. Cheers, buddy. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So there we have it, guys. It wasn't to be for Martin, okay? But we had a bit of fun doing it. It's exactly that. It's having a bit of fun, but I do want to give some beer away. We want to give a lot of beer away. Carlsberg wants us to give a lot of beer away. So if you'd like to play our golden race to 10 matches, then please just drop your name in the chat box underneath the video. Okay, do that. We will come to you and perhaps get you on the show. The only T's and C's that are important here, you've got to be 18 plus, obviously, to take receipt of the beer. So don't play if you're under 18. And secondly, Carlsberg can only deliver to a UK address. Okay, so please bear that in mind also. Now, with all of that said, let's get Grizz on to the show. I really enjoyed my 30 minutes with him, so I'm going to roll that now. I started by asking him how stuff was going generally. So over to the video.
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Des, thank you for having me on. But yeah, I wouldn't say things are bad at all, especially after the win yesterday. But yeah, overall it's going well personally, and hopefully on the Liverpool point of view, it's upwards and onwards as well.
Absolutely, because it has been a crazy couple of weeks. Going back to the really heavy defeat against Villa, where we went from being sort of supermen to suddenly seeming somewhat ordinary. You've then got a bunch of COVID cases. You've got the game against Everton, where we obviously had some issues there. Why do you think have we gone from such a high to becoming what seems to be an almost average team? That's a bit critical, maybe, but we've certainly been found out on a couple of occasions.
It's barely been a month into the season, and it's been so emotional, as you said. That's the word for it. It's been emotional and a roller coaster. So many highs and lows already, and that's amazing. Usually, sort of, you have the whole season to play out for the emotions, but it seems like we've gone through all the emotions in a month already. But then I suppose you could say that for many of the teams around us as well. I mean, it's a crazy season. It's the way there's no one team that's sort of been consistent and stood out. Just looking even at the last game against, the last game against Everton. I mean, the form team flying, and look how much better we were than them. So there's just no consistency amongst any teams, really. The only consistency is at the bottom, where Fulham have been consistently rubbish.
By everybody.
And that's the only consistency that's been taking place. But yeah, it's difficult to put your finger on it. What's the reason for this? I mean, surely it's impossible to quantify, but surely the absence of crowds, I guess, it's huge. But to sort of suss out and work out what the dips in form are down to, like from on a weekly basis, it seems like, as you said, like from the topsy-turvy Leeds game to the brilliance of the Chelsea Arsenal games, and then the all-time low of Villa, and then we came again and played brilliantly against Everton. So, look, I think we're in for an amazing ride this season. I think it's fair to say every fan base of every club will probably say the same.
Yeah, it's certainly looking that way. And it's not just in England. I mean, we've seen it all across Europe, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Juventus.
Absolutely.
Everybody's losing, right? And it's not just that they're losing, but actually they're conceding tons of goals. It's almost like the return of schoolyard football, because the score lines, the amount of goals being scored, I mean, you've hit the nail on the head. Surely it's because the crowds aren't there and the players aren't, coming into the game with the same degree of care or motivation or something. I mean, it's really entertaining to watch, and it is a bit of a roller coaster. But how confident are you that, the Reds can keep it together better than, let's say, City, who I suspect will be our number one challenger this year, Spurs, who are looking, more strong, it has to be said, as the month's gone on. Who else? United had a very decent win in France yesterday, or the day before yesterday. How confident are you that we can, if you like, if it comes down to it, lose less?
Well, people that know me from the LFCDaytrippers podcast will know, even on Twitter, that I'm fairly positive usually, and I'm very positive. I always like to stay that way. I just don't see the point in being negative, especially sort of the rise that we've been part of or seen with our very own eyes in the last 2-3 years. There's not much to be negative about. That's my opinion. But listen, losing Virgil the way we did, it would put a dampener on any team, any manager, any fan base, and it's just a huge shock to the system. I'm still coming to terms with it. It's one of those things that you just, every season, if you could pick one thing or one player not to get injured and you dread, it would be Virgil van Dijk, and for the amount of length of time he's going to be out for as well. So, that was a sickening blow. How we get over that and sort of come out of this sort of situation. Hey, listen, we've got the best man at the helm for it. If anyone can, Jurgen Klopp can. And he's gonna have to call on his experience, his powers of motivation, his powers of sort of getting all this group together even more than they already are. Get this siege mentality going. It kind of is us against them now. Everyone's written us off because of Virgil's sort of season-ending injury, and it's like, suddenly everyone's seen this little hole. A massive hole in this wall that we were last season, and everyone's trying to cram into that hole and get a piece of us. But listen, we showed yesterday glimpses of what we can do and what we are about, and it's not going to be easy for anyone to take our title away from us. And these are the kind of mentality and words that I'm sure Klopp's using. Of course, he's using far more words than me, but this is the type of thing that he's going to be drumming into them, that this is it now. Everyone thinks we're done, we're finished, and we've got to get this season back on track. And I'm fairly, to answer your original question, I'm fairly confident, Des. I'm fairly confident. I always have been. As long as we've got this coach, literally anything is possible, man.
Yeah. Listen, I'm with you 1,000%, and I think in some respects, the Echo, bless their cotton socks, it almost appeared as if Verge had passed away. A couple of days ago, they had all sorts of stuff going on that was a little over the top, I thought. But do you think is there a chance that actually the boss, who is the master motivator, whatever about Mourinho, I think Klopp, he just drives that extra sort of degree of performance every time. Do you think is there a chance that actually he's just going to pull that line back a little bit closer to the goal, maybe make us a little less susceptible to the break? And that actually, Joe Gomez, in giving this sort of chance to become a leader at the back alongside Fabinho, who's been absolutely astonishingly good, do you think that actually, it might work in our favour, ridiculous as that may seem?
There's going to have to be adjustments made, Des. It's clear to see that without Virgil van Dijk, you can't play exactly the same. Yeah. When you've got such an awesome player who's physically just near perfect as you can get as an athlete in terms of for a footballer, all the physical attributes that you need to be a centre back. When you're without that, then obviously there is slight adjustments to make. Let's not forget, even with Virgil, this offside line, this offside trap wasn't working as smoothly as it has in recent years, you know. And we're an evolving team. We're always evolving. Our methods of play, our methods of defending, our methods of attack, ever since Klopp's been there, especially since the return of Pep Linders, it's been always evolving. It's always evolving the way we play, so we don't get left behind or teams don't work out. This is the way Liverpool play, and that's it. We showed yesterday we are willing and we can, and we're able to drop 10 yards and still make life hell for the opposition. I mean, Ajax absolutely ran into the ground in that second half, but I had absolutely no idea what to do against us, and just in the end just sort of played PlayStation football in terms of just all-out attack, put on 4 forwards and started lumping into the box. Very un-Ajax-like. But that's credit and sort of to us, sort of the way we handled it, the way we played, we ground them into those tactics. So look, in terms of adjusting the offside line or adjusting the way we defend, I'm pretty certain they'll have efficient plans in place. And you've got to remember, our midfield is so strong now with sort of the likes of Hendo and the brilliant Thiago, that it gives us variety, and we can adapt in midfield as well to sort of make sure our defense doesn't get exposed. So look, as I said again, that the man at the helm is the best in this situation. And the very, very underrated Pep Linders, who's got a big influence on how we play. They'll have it sussed. I'm fairly confident about that. And whatever needs to be adjusted will be. So look, there's no way I'm saying, you know, we'll be absolutely as good as we were under Verge, but we'll be a different good. Do you know what I mean by that? Like, sort of, we'll adjust accordingly and be a different version of Liverpool, which is equally as good. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. So there's no, there's no reason for fans to think that a Liverpool without Verge, you know, who were maybe 18 points ahead of the rest of the league last season, aren't still a good 6 to 9 points ahead of the league this season. You just got to, you know, retain that faith and support your boys. How did it feel on 60 Minutes last night when Klopp was able to pull his front three off and replace them with Shaqiri, Jota and Minamino? I can't recall a time at any point in the past when we've had that sort of strength up front.
I said the same thing on last night's show, and I'm going to say the same thing. I really enjoyed last night, Des. I really did. Oh, I honestly did. Do you know why? Because it's not, you see, it may not have been everyone's cup of tea in terms of sort of attacking football, and the football was sort of silky, and some of the counterattacks that we've shown we're capable of in the past, especially in Europe, you know, where we devastate teams on the break. I thought it was back to our controlling best in that second half. In terms of the 60-minute substitution, I was so calm about it. Normally in a normal situation where you think you're taking off your front three, you think either he's shit pissed off with them, or, you know, we're miles ahead and he's resting them. It was neither. It almost seemed like it was pre-planned, that I don't give a shit. At 60 minutes, I'm going to take all of yous off, give you a breather for Saturday, I beg your pardon. And as we've got able deputies, and I thought all three of the deputies came in and done a wonderful job. Superb. The work rate, the tenacity was second to none. Yeah. I really enjoyed that substitution. It showed us kind of the level we're at now, in terms of in years gone past, or, you know, we would have worried if one of them went off, never mind all three at the same time. And look, the only thing that was missing was the final touch. We created numerous chances with them three in the pitch. But I just felt, for the first time, as you say, in a long time, they felt like for like in terms of the playing style. It didn't have to change much, and that was very encouraging.
I think, I mean, the boss must take incredible credit for this, but it seems to me as if, you know, despite this being a championship winning team and a Champions League winning team, that every player in the squad feels part of it, right? So you could see with the three boys who came on 60 that they each knew what their role was. They were each able to stand up. They looked confident. It didn't necessarily look like we just replaced perhaps the number one strike force in the world. Massively impressive. But what did you make of the fact when Klopp announced the team and he had both Curtis and Millie in midfield against, arguably our toughest sort of opponent in the group, the away game, very important game. I mean, that shows tremendous confidence in the squad. But what was your own personal feeling? Did you wonder maybe where Hendo was, or what did you think?
No, I pretty much agreed with it. I thought it was brave. I definitely knew Milner would start, but he's got faith in Curtis, and he obviously sees in Curtis a player that is as good as any of the Ajax youngsters, so to speak. I know they had Dele Blind playing in there, who's a veteran, but the other fellas in Ajax's midfield are very young, and he must have thought, I believe in my youngster, so to speak, to go up against him. Doesn't matter if it's a Champions League game or a cup game or a league game, whatever. I believe in him, and so he plays. It also sort of explains the situation in terms of Naby being absent, Thiago being absent, Fabinho having to play centre back. So it didn't leave him with many options. But I think out of the options that he did have, Hendo returning from a long layoff, only came back for the derby. It made sense to give him a little bit of a breather, half a game. I just kind of think it all worked. It was brave, as you say, to throw in Curtis Jones like that, as you say, possibly out. Probably Atalanta away will be a hardest game, but Ajax away there's no pushovers. So yeah, throwing him in there is just it's what Klopp does. We just, when we're sort of as fans withering and thinking and worrying, this guy's got huge kahunas, man. This Jurgen Klopp is Jurgen Klopp for a reason, who makes calls like this, and it paid off. It worked. I think it worked to treat. Everyone got rest. We walk away with a clean sheet and 3 points.
Fantastic. Can't ask for more. Jota looks quite the player, doesn't he? He seems to have really bonded with the fans early on. He's got that big sort of effort and skill obviously within him that Klopp likes so much. Sadio Mane, who arguably is in that spot that Diego Jota should exist in. How do you think does Klopp fit Jota into this team? Does he put him in increasingly to give Bobby a rest and to bring Bobby back? Does he play him out wide left and bring Sadio into a more central role? Do you have any inkling as to how that might evolve?
Trying to second guess Mr. Klopp is quite a thing.
That's where the big money is.
But that's absolutely. But it's clear to see, and as we've discussed, the nature of this season is such that there will be games literally every 3 days. And it's nigh on impossible to ask your players to play in every single game. And especially the way our forwards play, in terms of our forwards, the numbers they put out in terms of sprints and pressing and attacks is probably one of the highest, if not the highest, in the Premier League. There'll be game time. There'll be game time for each and one of them. This is the beauty of finally having able deputies. We were crying out for sort of someone to step in the role of Mane or Salah or Bobby, and we have that. I mean, you mentioned Jota. I mean, I truly believe he's our next project, so to speak, a la Mane and a la Salah, where we bought them for 40 million odd, 50 million odd, and doubled their values. I truly believe we're talking Jota in 2 years being the 100 million player. That's how highly I rate him. Same goes for Minamino. We pick him up for 7 million. I'm pretty certain that he'll be a 60 million player, in a couple of years.
Yeah.
The level of scouting is second to none. The attributes we saw in Jota, we just saw glimpses of it yesterday. The lad has barely settled in. He's just arrived literally a few weeks ago, getting used to the way we play, getting used to the way we attack, getting used to our different methods of pressing. And he's been so impressive. the way you sort of started this topic about him, look at the excitement that he raised in your eyes. You went, Jota.
Yeah.
That's the effect he's had on the Reds.
Absolutely.
But it comes down to our recruitment. They scrutinize these kind of attributes, and they absolutely sort of go deep into what kind of speeds they can achieve, what kind of energy, how much distance they run. Everything is taken into consideration, and as a result, you get Diego Jota, who was literally like for like, as in terms of stylistically for Mane, and that's encouraging going forward. So, and Minamino was so impressive. Bobby's not been in the best of forms, but then it's so good to know that Minamino is literally stepping on his toes and saying, look, you better raise your form, Bobby, because I'm here and I'm looking to take your place. It's very encouraging. It's very encouraging.
It seems to me Minamino has really bulked up over the last 6 months at Liverpool. He's had a great pre-season. He's looked really, really lively when he's come into the games. He was obviously starring for Salzburg, doing an amazing job over there, but he's really needed that strength to, be able to look more, make more of an impression in the Premier League, I would say. He certainly has that now. And you just wonder if the boss goes to, a 2-3-1, or, you almost see Minamino that he might be a real diamond in a slightly more withdrawn role. But I mean, our play is very fluid anyway, so it's hard to necessarily know what the formation is at any one specific time. But I guess if we did have a concern outside of Virgil, and there's nothing we can do about that now, so we sit and wait and touch wood, Virgil has a good recovery and comes back strong, and I'm sure he will. But if there was one concern, it's probably Bobby. And Bobby's is an awkward one because there's a huge amount of love for Bobby within the community, right? I mean, there's a guy in 2017, the deft touches around the box. 2018, we were making some deep European runs. I remember particularly the team when they were in the orange strip back in 17, and they were just knocking in goals for fun.
Oh, yeah.
The front three, it was just insane. Mo, of course, was just converting everything. These were incredible times, and the team has become more workmanlike, more methodical, more commanding, more disciplined, all of that stuff, and that's why we've started to win things. But there wouldn't be a dry eye in the house if Bobby started to push those balls around again, like we've seen so much of in the past. What's your level of confidence that we can see that Bobby come back again?
Yeah, so Bobby, as you say, it's a difficult one. I'm a massive, huge Bobby fan. Absolutely, I love the way he plays the game. I love his characteristics, his personality on the team. But you're right. Sometimes you got to call a spade, and his form has been disappointing. But it can happen, and it does happen. It happens to the absolute best of players. Dips in form. He's human, and he's played an awful lot of football. I personally believe he just needs a little break from the first team. I don't think it's drastic enough to sort of say, "Oh, we need to sell him." I mean, that's bollocks. Pardon my French, but we don't need to. We don't need to sort of go overboard with the criticism. But it's fair to say he's not been himself. And when we say himself, is exactly the way you described the touches, the vision, the vibrance in attack. When Bobby, we always say when Bobby plays well, Liverpool play well. He's the pivot of everything, of all our attack, of not only our attack, but in terms of our defensive, he's the leader. He leads the press, and his energy. I literally think he just needs a break. I think he's absolutely knackered. His numbers haven't been his usual amazing numbers. He just needs a little break out of the team, and now we've got the personnel to do that.
Absolutely.
I mean, I personally, and I get asked this question, and I ask this question of others as well, I don't think there's a like-for-like replacement in our team for Bobby. I genuinely don't see Minamino's traits. I genuinely think if we were to play Minamino in Bobby's role, would be not utilizing Minamino at his best.
Yeah,
I think Minamino in the three behind the one would be amazing. So if we were to put a Mane or a Salah through the middle, then the likes of Jota, Minamino, Mane, or Salah behind them would be fantastic, in my opinion. That's how I would replace Bobby in the team.
Yeah.
But, obviously the men in charge are far better. But I'm saying, they're trying, you can see they're trying to mold Bobby into that, I beg your pardon, Minamino into that Bobby role. I just personally think we'd be better off changing the slight formation, having a slight tweak in the formation. Bobby needs a rest. Bobby will be fresh. I thought he was better yesterday. He started off really poorly, but I think the performance of Mane on his side kind of inspired him as well. I saw more effort from him. I saw more concentration in the pass, in the layoff. Bobby will come back. Bobby class is permanent, as they say. Form is temporary. He's going through a rough patch. There's no denying that. We can't bury our head in the sands and say, no, everything's fine. Bobby's playing exactly the way he's been playing at Liverpool. He hasn't. So, my suggestion, my expert suggestion would be to Klopp, to say he just needs a break from the team, and I think he'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I guess the management team have had to figure their way around a bit of a jigsaw over the last few weeks, what with the COVID stuff and now Virgil, Fab moving back. There's all sorts of stuff happening there, but I dare say there'll be these discussions going on in the background because there's going to be a hell of a lot of games coming up. We obviously have that strength and depth, but the beautiful thing about having that strength and depth is that you can test things without taking too much of a risk. And it might be that Curtis has, quite a role to play this season as well. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. Do you think, do they go into the market in January for a centre-back? I mean, there's talk about Upamecano or, some others maybe. Do you think will he strengthen?
Yeah, I think it'll be absolutely crazy not to, Des.
Yeah.
Going into the market in January, as we know, isn't easy. It's a very difficult time to buy.
Yeah.
Clubs just don't want to release their best players, and why should they be? They're in the middle of a hectic, mad season that we've described. Some players will be sort of 6-7 months away from sort of their deals running out. So you ask yourself, is it worth just waiting for a few more months that we can get them for cheaper or for free in some cases? I personally think we will go into this market. I think we have no choice but to. Yeah. We're literally on our last limbs in terms of centre backs. I mean, if God forbid Matip was to go out for a long time, then, or even Gomez or even Fabinho, I don't want to even think about it. I wish we get some good luck in terms of how much bad luck we've had in recently, especially with Alisson and Virgil. So look, personally, I think we do. I understand that Upamecano is at the very top of that list, along with a couple of others, Diego Carlos being one of Seville.
Yeah.
So I think, but it's just a matter of, trying to get a deal with their clubs. I mean, Leipzig will be absolutely loath to give him, if they're still in the Champions League or in the Bundesliga race, for example. I believe that we were fully expecting to go for him, even buy him in the summer, but that may need to come forward now as an emergency. He's got a release clause of 36 million for the summer. Do we risk? Do we try to tempt them with 50 million and say, look, let's try to get him early? Only time will tell. It really does seem like we need to, and I think we will try to make a move for a centre back in January. Personally,
it'll be interesting to see. It's all ahead of us. I have a couple of questions for you on Sheffield United at the weekend. The first one is an easy one. Are you going to pay the 15 quid to watch this game on Sky?
I haven't made a choice yet. I'm so addicted to Liverpool that I may do, but at the moment my head is saying no. I refuse to give in at this stage, if you ask me my honest opinion. But but things change in my head. Like I'm sure they do in everyone.
With you.
The closer we get, my love for Liverpool, my desire to watch every single second of Liverpool play may get the better of me. But no, at the moment, I'm not prepared to pay that fee. I think it's ludicrous. What everyone said about it. I don't want to sort of sound like a brick on record in terms of repeating what everyone said. It's absolutely shambolic. It's opportunist move from the league. But no, at the moment, I'm not looking to part with my very, very hard-earned cash.
No, it's fair enough. You talk a lot of sense. I'd agree with everything that you've said there, Grizz. And my second question in relation to Sheffield United is, we are going to come up against one young gun called Ryan Brewster. He's not going to make us suffer, is he, the little so-and-so, is he?
Oh, God. It's one of those stories, isn't it, that's just waiting to be written. Oh, God. You know, I rate the kid. Ideally,
good lad.
In an ideal scenario, I would have loved to kept him. But he was never going to get ahead of the likes of the players we've discussed. And he's at an age where he needs to play. I've got a lot of time for Ryan. He's a good mate of a very good mates. So I had the pleasure of meeting him as well, and he's a very down to earth, very top lad. I just hope the fairy tale that sort of is being waiting, sort of the sort of not fairy tale for him. Maybe it's not, but sort of in terms of the media wanting to print this story of Ryan going back to Liverpool and scoring doesn't take place. But you listen. Whatever it will be. I hope he scores, but I hope the score's 5-1 at the end of it, so everyone's happy in that way.
Perfect. Tell me, Grizz, do you ever get up to Anfield? Is that a journey you make a couple times a year?
Oh man, Anfield was once a month for cert.
Nice.
Back in the day when sort of family and children and real life work wasn't priority taken over. But yeah, obviously, you know, priorities change as you get older and sort of family around you and work. But I still, before pre-COVID, I still used to try to get up every 6 weeks or so. You know, it's not as easy or convenient as it used to be, where it used to be like sort of near enough every home game, or even many aways as well. But now it's nothing. But before we entered this sort of mess that we are in now, I try to get out there as often as I can. I'm more of a away man, to be honest with you. Tickets are very easy to get hold of somehow.
London games. For me. There's never a problem getting hold of a ticket for West Ham, I'll tell you that.
So I try to get as many games as I can.
Yeah.
But it's not as easy, you know, as it used to be when we were young, free and single, dare I say it, just in case the missus is listening.
Yeah, listen, buddy, I've been through that whole thing that you're saying. I get to go as often as I can. There is nothing quite like standing in the cop. It is a medication all of its own. And, you know, I suppose you will know this from doing stuff on Twitter, and I know it from the stuff that I do on Twitter. You know, up to half of you know, the audience that, you know, will follow my page or whatever, yeah, they're from overseas. They're from everywhere from Japan to Africa to South America, because our club has an amazingly large fan base, and they never get that opportunity to go to Anfield. It's just, you know, it's just a thing. It's a thing to behold. You'll never forget it if you do it, and if you can do it at some point, do it. If you can do it, like, you know, over the next year or two, when we have this magnificent team, touch wood, the you know, the pandemic goes away and we start to get back to some level of normality. But if you can, guys, do it. Do what you have to do to get to Anfield. It's an incredible place to be on a match day. Last question for you, Grizz. It's been you know, lovely having you on. Lovely getting to know you. What would a good season look like to you right now?
Good question. Right now, you say. You see that sort of, that little bit of add spice to it at the end. I mean, right now, the state we're in, you know, I still expect us to win the league. And one of the main reasons that keeps me confident is the level of other teams around us. literally no one is standing out. Man City will be our closest rivals again, I expect. But can we honestly say they look that good, that much better than us? Do they really look 18 points closer to us, even taking into consideration the Virgil situation?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think if Virgil was fit, bless him, I'd say the league title and sort of see if he can go deep in the Champions League again. Greedy me. I would have wanted a domestic trophy as well. I crave a domestic trophy. But listen,
to get an FA Cup, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be, but I just don't think we'll give a hoot about it again. I think we've got enough on our plate to sort of retain our title, and a back-to-back league title for me is way above anything else. So, look, personally, even though the romance of the FA Cup and all that, I couldn't give two hoots about it at this stage now. Same goes for the Champions League. I know we're European royalty. I know of the name of Liverpool. We're synonymous with the Champions Leagues and European Cups, etc., etc. But for me personally, there's the quest for a back-to-back title. That is the ultimate for me. I mean, it would be, I think it would go down as one of the best achievements by a coach if we retain this title in the circumstances. So I'm rooting, as I'm sure you are and all your followers and listeners and viewers, I'm rooting for another successful campaign to bring that number 20 home.
Yeah, there you have it, guys. Listen to Grizz. He talks really good sense there. I concur. That would be my view. The priorities of Premier League. Let's bring that home again this season. Anything else is a bonus. Above all else, let's enjoy it while we can, because God knows how long it's going to last for. Grizz, lovely having you on. Speak to you soon, my friend, I hope.
It's been an absolute pleasure. No problem.
So there we go, guys. That was Grizz Khan. What a great interview it was with Grizz. Really enjoyed talking to him. Lovely bloke. And a big red, okay, as indeed we are, right? A big red. So thank you for watching this evening's talk show. Thank you to Grizz and to Martin for taking part. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have done, by all means, share and retweet and all of that good stuff. That would be appreciated. But until the next time, that's it. Have a nice day.